Bowling from Racing's Inside Track, and I'm with Adrian Keatley, Curragh trainer. How are you, Adrian?
Good, David. Yourself?
Very good, thanks. Adrian, you're busy at the moment, plenty of runners, and you had a good winner on Sunday at the Curragh.
Yeah, we're busy. Busy at the moment, David. We'd a good start to the season. The first day, I ran 3 and 2 seconds and a third. Just shortly after that, they just picked up a little viral thing. It took me. So I basically had to write off April and May. So we got going again, and we just got touched off with a few raids to England. Not all place, a couple of seconds and that. And then we had a nice filly won in Listowel the Sunday before last, and then we had another nice filly won again last Sunday. So the things are picking up, and hopefully the ball will keep rolling from here.
The one that won Listowel for you, Elusive Duchess, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Gary Carroll rode her that day.
Yeah.
She was good.
Yeah, she was very good. To the naked eye at the time, it was very impressive looking. Gary was impressed with her. She's a light. She trains up light, so we hadn't done a lot of work with her. We just keep her taking over, and the manner in which she done, you'd have to be impressed by her. And
then the one that won on Sunday at the Curragh, then Duchess of France.
Yeah, Duchess of France.
This is your fourth lot here now.
Yeah, there's 4 of them there. There's another couple of them gone in other directions, but them 4, we keep them on the wood chip for today. Yeah, Duchess of France. She won well on Sunday. She liked the bit of ease under her feet. 7 furlongs seems to be her ideal trip. She was unlucky not to win the previous Monday in Ayr. She didn't get a clear run when young Danny Sheedy rode her, and he went for a gap, and by the time she got there the gap was gone. It was just a little bit messy, but she came out of Ayr all right, and she looks, there could be a real decent handicapper in her, hopefully.
She has plenty of good runs to her name as well, like.
Yeah, she's been running honestly all the way, and she won well on Sunday. Now the handicapper hasn't missed her, so look at it, whether she's able for what he's done to her or not is another thing. But we'll keep going. We'll have a go. We won't get too upset by the £12 she got. So, and we'll see what she's able for in the future.
I know from talking to Johnny Murta before, he's very fond about his filly Tobacco Bay, and she was second behind you on Sunday, so it was a decent enough race. Yeah,
and a furlong and a half down, you'd probably say she was going to come and have a go at us. But the closer we got to the line, the more impressive we were looking, and the more we were giving her a good hiding. So maybe the handicapper is right and I'm wrong. Who knows?
And I see a horse then that you have entered up a good few times in a lot of the good races. The Scat Daddy Colts that you had that ran in Navan.
Yeah. That was around the same time. As my horses weren't right, you know.
I remember you told me before about him that you were very fond of him, and
yeah, like he's a very impressive looking horse, and anything we ask him to do, he's impressive. We brought him up to Navan yesterday for a schooling race. That was his first piece of work back after we gave him a little break after his run. We gave him a couple of weeks off, and he looked impressive yesterday as well. So I think the day he ran in Navan, my horses weren't just right, you know. So, but physically he's a stronger horse now. Holds a couple of decent entries, so hopefully he lives up to the entries I have with him, you know.
Oh, sorry, his name is Papa Store, yeah.
Papa Store, yeah.
Now when he ran in Navan, and you said that your horses went right at the time, he was 7th, but he was only beaten 4.5 lengths too, so he didn't run too bad either.
No, he didn't. He didn't run too bad, but I would have expected him to be a bit closer. But the form of the race has worked out well, so hopefully there's plenty more to come from him, and hopefully we can have a good season with him.
It's good, and you have G-Force as well, who everyone knows is a very, very good horse when he's in the UK.
G-Force, it's all been trial and error with G-Force as we go along, and on the day he either keeps a lid on his temperament and everything goes right with him, or the opposite, you know. But his run in Ayr in the Gold Cup was a real good run, and on the day, probably a furlong 2 down, Chesney, Chris Hayes that rode him, had an option to go to the left of the horses in front of him or to the right, and to his left where the winner was in the second. Chesney went to his right, and if he to go to the left, he was probably going to finish a little bit closer, but he was only beaten 2 lengths. Horse that won, he went out and was only beaten in the Group 1 after, so it was a real good run. And then we brought him to, back to the Curragh that day, and his last run of the season, and he just lost the plot basically, you know what I mean. So we gave him a break. We done a couple of little jobs on him. We done his wind. We gave him the most severest operation of all, which none of us would like to get. But
no.
So look at hopefully we just gave him a run back there, and he's going to go to the Wokingham. He also went to Navan yesterday and was impressed us as well, and everything went well for him. So hopefully we can get him over there and get a big day of him between now and the end of the season.
And I see another horse you have entered in a couple of good races, London Icon.
Yeah, London Icon is just after coming up by us there. He's a fine, big, powerful, impressive looking horse. He's by Elzam. He costs plenty of money, but he's totally changed now to what he was in the spring. Let's say he was tall and lean, but now he's big and round, and he's powerful. So we're hoping now, probably in another 5-6 weeks, that we can produce him, and he can do on the track what we're hoping and expecting, hopefully, you know.
And you're busy, you've plenty in, you've around 40 in at the minute?
Yeah, busy enough. We've plenty in. So look at, hopefully we've enough ammo to keep going between now and the end of the season, and we'll have a nice handful of jumpers maybe just to keep us away from all our bad habits in the winter. So we'll be kept busy, hopefully.
And you've plenty of experience with all the jump horses as well before you started out on your own anyway?
Yeah, loads of experience. I was up with Oliver McKiernan for probably 5 to 6 years, and we had a real good time of it up there in Racool. We had a lot of good horses, Grade 1 horses, with What You Think and Follow the Plan, and on his own started off as we won a pint and a bumper with him, and yeah, so it was great to get that experience, and I'd be always very grateful to Oliver McKiernan for giving me the experience.
Well, for someone who's training not that long, Adrian, there's not many people who can say that they're a Guineas winning trainer either.
No, but you know, as time goes by, you'd hate to think that that's going to be the only part of your training career. You know, it's when you get sent into the when you get put in, just thrown into the limelight like that, everybody expects you to keep up that momentum. And you know, at the early part of the season this year, when the horses had a little downturn, it's a game that you don't get long forgotten about. You know what I mean? It doesn't take people just to forget about what happened in the past. So it's very important to try and keep up the momentum, and it's important for us to try and get our hands on another good horse this season to get us back to where we would like to be at, you know.
And obviously you're right, you need to keep getting the horses, but it's great to have that experience, that you've been there, you've trained the classic winner. Now for going forward, you'd have learned a lot from that.
Yeah, and it's important as well that if you can get to that level with a filly or a colt or a gelding, whatever it is, that if the next one comes along, you know, you're kind of aware that maybe that's the attributes that you need to get to that level. And you know, hopefully I'm not speaking too soon or getting too excited, but the filly in the stall was impressive, and you know, if she can step up again on what she done in the stall, she's not going to be far off black type level at least, you know. So, and hopefully a couple of them 2-year-olds that we talked about, they can get to a level where it's on a big stage, hopefully, you know. That's
good. Well, sure, we'll go after your lot there, and we'll have a closer look at London Icon, who we were talking about. This is London Icon here, Adrian.
Yeah, that's London Icon. So as you can see, he's a big powerful horse. Killing gets on well with him, and you know, we're just taking him steady away. We gave him a bit of a break there at the end of the spring, and he's come back twice, the horse, after it. So we're delighted with him, you know.
That's good.
And even the filly there that's in front, that's Jetstream, and she was second the first day in Naas. Actually, she was third, and then she was second after. she's a nice filly as well, Jetstream, and we're fairly confident that she should be winning in the next week or two. You know, all going well. And then even the horse in front, he's a horse. He's going to be a big horse. He's by declaration of war. He's a half brother to 1,000 Stars. The 1,000 Words, isn't it? 1,000 Words, the stallion. 1,000 Words, yeah. 1,000 Stars was Willie Munn's horse. 1,000 Words. He's a half brother to him.
Nice big horse.
And he's a nice horse. He goes real well. Again, he was impressing us in the spring, but he's going to be so big that we gave him a little break, and he's back now. And I'd be fairly hopeful he should be a horse that should win his maiden at the back end of the year, and he's a horse that we're very much looking forward to.
And you're enjoying it here on the Cur?
Yeah, well, I've no choice now. I have a life sentence, I have a trainer's license, so there's no getting away from it. But look, it is enjoyable. It can be tough at times. The business end of it can be tough at times. The competition in Ireland is phenomenal. Like, I mean, and you know, the low grade racing is the lowest grade racing is the most competitive. Like, I mean, you see the entries there week on, week off. Like, they're this week there's 45 to 65s, and there's 60 odd entered, there's 50 odd entered. Like, I mean, it's the competition is crazy. And I just read a bit last night where Jim Bulger was backing Ger Lyons and about the programme, and there's going to have to something's going to have to be done. Yeah, like, I mean, there's not enough racing for low grade horses, and there might not necessarily be low grade horses. It's just the competition is so healthy in Ireland that, you know, it's so hard to win a maiden, and it's so hard to get a run. It takes you so long in between runs that by the time you have 2 or 3 runs, you're handicapped, and then it could take you another 2, 3, 4 weeks to try and get a run in a handicap. You know, so it's just it's going to have to be, the whole thing is going to have to be restructured to try and help trainers to keep owners interested and keep them on their side when it's taken so long to get runs into horses.
Definitely. And you have a very good record in Ayr. You do. You send plenty over, and you've had plenty of winners over there. You've had good runs. Yeah,
last year we'd 2 trebles over there this time last year. This year we went over on the ground. This year being this year for me.
Hit the crossbar a few times.
Hit the crossbar a few times. The ground was gone dry on us when usually air is always soft and everywhere else is quick. But look, we're not complaining. We'll be back there again, and hopefully the Ayr Gold Cup is one on the bucket list that I'd love to try and win someday. So hopefully the likes of G-Force or something else might come along someday to try and grab it.
Very good. Well, listen, Adrian, it was good meeting you, and good to see the horses on the gallop, and best of luck for the season and the future.
Cheers, Davey. Thank you.